Senior COSATU leaders have admitted to having affairs with colleagues. That's as General Secretary Zwelinzima Mavavi faces the prospect of losing his job over an illicit sexual encounter. Is this a negative example of patriarchy, or is there more to it? Do we need to pay more attention to the women who are involved in such cases? Let's chat now to gender commentator Anele Mda, who's joining us live from our studios in Pretoria. Anele, very good morning to you, and thanks for your time. Firstly, just broadly, in this particular case where it looks like powerful men in politics or public figures tend to have relationships with junior partners, and in the Zwelinzima Mavavi case, are we actually doing enough, in your view, to put the case for the woman involved?
Good morning, Braden, and thanks for having me. I think the first thing that we must clear is the fact that the issue of relationships that are happening in powerful offices between people who are perceived to be in higher authorities is not an issue that is actually only immune to the political space only. We know that in corporate world it happens, in other various industries it happens as well. I mean, I can name, for instance, the Leonard Chwene and the PA thing that happened, which is one of the things that led him to be ultimately axed from Athletics South Africa. But the issue here for me should not be, are we putting women on the spotlight as victims, or are we indirectly condoning behaviors of women who are adults who willingly take themselves into situations knowing very well what might be the dire consequences of these situations that we're putting ourselves into, and come back and cry foul after that because we might be seeking public sympathy? For me, that should be the crux of what we intend to ask ourselves about the situation.
Are you saying, Anele, are you saying that perhaps that in many of or in some of these cases, women are not necessarily victims, even if they say so?
Not victims as they project themselves to be, more especially if, as I would make an example with this one particular issue of COSATU, General Secretary and the employee of COSATU, where you do have now footprints of the fact that here, this is actually a relationship having gone wrong. Now, the woman that is involved, or the woman that was involved, have gone even beyond proving that this was a relationship. But when she could not get things the way she wanted them, that is, for instance, that of wanting money, that of wanting assurance of everything that she wants, that she will get in order for her to be silent, as she claimed, and that having not happened, then she cry foul. She now comes out and say this is rape. How do we separate, Braden, pure, genuine victims of sexual abuses and sexual exploitations from those of women who uses the fact that they know that South Africa is very sensitive to issues that are presented in the public domain by women, even if those issues themselves, they are not as true as they come, or they are not as genuine as they are projected.
But Anele, even if that's the case, surely we should be able to respect each other. I mean, Zwelinzima Mavavi in this particular case has now said, yes, the term he used, unopatazana, loose woman, in the social media has been withdrawn. But I saw a tweet from you about 2 days ago where you were referring to this kind of comment on that tweet, and you were saying if anyone who claims to be a gender activist chastises Vavi on these utterances, they must say what a woman who does what Jackie does is called. Are you saying that even in those cases, respect is not important?
I think the issue, even on that one, Braden, is that, let me just make a quick example with a very simplest scenario. If a person breaks into my house and steals, what is that person? It's a thief. That is the term that is used to a person who practices that, who comes to a house of a person, or even if it's not a house for that matter, but still. Now, the issue here is, for me, the issue of morality should not even be raised by anyone in as far as Jackie is concerned, because she herself, as a married woman, never behaved in a manner that's morally accepted of a married person. And by the way, Braden, we can't have a morally accepted way of behavior from a man and a different moral accepted behavior from a woman. If we are saying a married man can't behave like this, equally we must say a married woman can't behave like this.
Okay,
and I am saying...
Anele, I think you've made your point, and we just ran out of time. I think you've made your very point there that we need to be very clear about whether there's a victim or not involved. That's social commentator Anele Mda.
News that moves. ENCA.com.